Hey everybody, welcome to Tea Time with Amy and Bev. Good day,
Good
sister.
day. Good day. How's
Good.
everything going?
Fab.
Bad.
Yes, fab. Interesting. There you have it. It's been interesting.
I would probably have to agree with you on all that. There's been a lot of things that I've recognized too as well going on lately. First of all, no one's job to make each person happy. It's our job to allow ourselves to be happy. That's been one of the things that have been coming forward. And like the practice has been since I've been doing this practice is just being in awareness of what my thoughts are and noticing that and not allowing it, not, I shouldn't say not allowing it, but being such an awareness of it that it's not running rampant like it used to. Not saying that it can't, because there's been a few moments here and there, if we don't stay on our game, stuff kind of comes up and triggers you or sets you off. But it's again to remember those triggers are not anything to do with a person, place, or a thing. It's just an opportunity to sit. For me, it's to sit and feel, where am I feeling that in my body? And when something triggers me, I immediately go to the trigger. I don't even associate it anymore with the situation, whatever that might be in my mind. And I just sit with it until it kind of dissipates. It just, when you feel those emotions, because it's scary. It's a scary thing to sit and feel that because you think it's never going to end. But the more that you sit and feel it, the more ease and grace comes over you. The more you get to feel like things just kind of fall off of you. It doesn't have the same control over you anymore. And it makes your life a little bit easy. Not saying when that stuff happens, because it's like I feel like I've been being bombarded. I should watch my language, my spelling. But saying that, the more that I've been doing this, more stuff has been like really right in my face. And so it's just each time it comes up to sit and breathe. And sometimes it might take me a full day before I have made my way through some stuff completely. And then last night or this morning while sleeping, I had like a very vivid dream of a situation. And it kind of in the space of the dream, I was very neutral about it. It was not a big deal. And then when I came out of it, the mind grabbed a hold of it and started kind of like playing with it. And when I say playing with it, it's not fun. It's not always fun in that space. So it's just to sit again, it's like, okay, wait a minute, not getting caught up in the story. It's slowing down and taking a couple of breaths and just feeling, where do I feel it at? Oh, it's in my solar plexus. It makes my stomach feel uncomfortable. And sitting with that for a few minutes and then just breathing through it, and then it's gone. So it's constant.
Yeah. We're not used to sitting with it. We're not used to feeling it. We're used to overlooking it and stuffing it and moving on. And we don't give ourselves that space or grace or time to recognize what is it I'm actually feeling. Because a lot of times it's not what's happening right now. It's and I've said this many a times in our recordings, is that it's it's not what is currently happening that is creating the discomfort of emotion. What's currently happening is triggering something within your being that you've been hanging on to for many, many, many years. And when I say that, it's a to me, and from the things that I've read and studied, it's the stem of our childhood. It's the pieces that we've stored within our system to for our survival mechanisms, and then something happens later in life and we think it's that person or that situation that's creating this discomfort in our feelings or in our emotions or in our reactivating mode, that that's not really what it is. Because I will tell you, there are things that happen now that in recent years past that it would have threw me for a loop. It would have thrown me in a spin and spiraled down into depression, questioning my worth, my value, my good and am I'm not good enough, just all the things. But that was because I was hanging on to those stories from my childhood that I hadn't processed or healed or released. Um, and now things happen, similar situations, different names, different faces, and it's a lot of times it doesn't even affect me. I just look at it and go, "Oh, well, that was interesting," or I have a whole different perspective about the situation. I can see it from different angles. I can process it differently, but it doesn't get me all balled up and send me into a spin like it used to. And then that progression of being able to do that allows me to recover quickly, or if it's not even phasing me, then it helps me maintain my level of happiness or joy of wherever I'm at, because it wasn't about me. It was about me in a sense of I'm witnessing it for a reason. Maybe it's just a gauge for me to see how well I'm doing within myself. Maybe it's me to be there for that other person to give them a different perspective. Um, there's a variety of reasons why I would be witnessing or engaged in the experience. And then ultimately, it's up to me as to what emotional state do I want to be in. So I can shake it off like an animal would do, a deer who has been just been chased by a lion, and just shake it off and go back to grazing and enjoying my day, or I can hang on to it, right? We have all these options. So practicing a level of happiness or joy more often, uh, it definitely helps. It's like it definitely feels better.
Yeah,
And at the same time, to reach the level of happiness and joy that you want, there's some work involved.
it
It,
really is.
I most people, which I was one of them, and I know Bev was one of them too, was, well, I'm not even gonna deal with that. I'm just gonna keep going with life. But the thing is that whatever that is, that situation, that person, that discomfort is still there. It's still in your system. And when it doesn't matter if you try to ignore it, it's still there. And at some point along your journey, that is going to get triggered and send you in a spin. And then you're going to wonder not is what's wrong with me. It's going to be, why did they do that to me? Right? It's that blame. It's the outside pointing the finger at something or somebody else. So there is work involved. There's a lot of work involved. It's work to look at yourself. It's work to take responsibility for yourself. It's work to look in the mirror and actually see yourself. And it's painful. I'm not going to deny that. It is painful. It's very, very, very uncomfortable and so worth it. To be on the other side of that is so freaking worth it. I cannot tell you. I did not like the process. I did it for years, still doing it to this day, only it's a little easier because I've been doing it for so long. And self-reflection to me is key for to my joy, my happiness. And the lighter I get within myself, the more joy and happiness I experience for longer periods of time. But to get to that spot, it wasn't like I woke up one day and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be happy and joyful. No, there was a process. There was lots and lots and lots of reflection, lots of being curious about myself and how I'm operating, and man, it's just such compared to where I was years ago and to where I am, it was so worth it.
It is. Because otherwise, we're just operating off the old programs. Like you said, you brought up the kids. We're like these sponges from 0 to 7. We just absorb everything. We're learning how to be in this experience. We're learning from people that have traumas and wounds and experiences that they've been, distracting themselves with by keeping themselves busy, not looking at that stuff. And so we learned how to deal with that. This was like our normal process. It's not a good or a bad process. It just doesn't work out for us anymore. We have an opportunity to look at that with awareness and know that, hey, I want something better. How many times we go through, even this morning, I noticed myself, how many times we go through and we feel heavy. We feel like all these emotions, but without awareness, you're not paying attention to it, and you'll just kind of stay in it that throughout the day. And if you've got anybody else in the home now, and they're aligning with your energy, now you guys are kind of both at the same space the whole day, and you don't even realize it without awareness. And then you realize, why am I feeling like this? Like, why am I choosing to feel like this? Because it's a familiar place, right? It's familiar. It's not familiar, at least not in my experience, to be in this happy, joyful place all the time. I can remember my mom dancing around and being happy on occasion, but there was always an underlying thing because there was things that she had that she could have dealt with at that time, but she didn't know how. She didn't have the tools for it. We didn't even have half the knowledge and information that we have now for all of us. That's at our fingertips. We didn't have that as younger, and you just had whatever experiences, people, tools around you that's what you learned from. That was how you navigated this experience for survival. So it's like we made it this far, but it's like I want to be happy for the rest of this journey. I don't care how long I live. I joke around about living till, I don't know, 3 or 4, 5,000, years, whatever. I mean, we never die anyways, but to be able to be in the experience, learn it as much as you possibly can to experience all the people around you. But I joke around about that. But I want to be happy. However long I choose to stay here or whatever the plan is, I want to be happy in that. And it's like I said, I recognized it even this morning. I recognized this heaviness, and it's like, why? And I even wrote it down, like, why? Because it's familiar. It's something that we know. It's some people that were around us that raised us when we were 0 to 7, operated from that space. We just didn't learn how to be happy unless some of us can choose to, hey, I'm gonna go be happy because I saw the way my mom was, or I saw the way my sister was. But we don't always do that. Because we don't always know what's possible. And now we have all these people, we have podcasts, we can watch people, we can feel their energy, we can have the full experience and know that, hey, I want something more, I want something different. And that's why it's so important for us each to show up in our energy, watching the words that you're using and saying, watching your thoughts. And I say watching it, but with awareness, because you're creating from that space the whole time. And if you're paying attention to your thoughts, you're going to recognize some of these things you're not wanting to create. You're not wanting to bring that into your experience. And so it's just being aware of all that and choosing something that feels better for you, for each person. It's so important. It's so valuable for us, and it's so valuable for everybody that's around us.
As you were talking, what was coming to me was we talk about spirit. Spirit's natural state is love, but also, which is equivalent, is joy. Our natural state of being is joy and love. Love being in the highest vibrational frequency. And we have these human experiences that create shame and guilt. What if, and it's just a question that was coming to me while you were talking, is if our natural state is joy and love, that when we have a human experience that diminishes that frequency of joy and love, we have human experiences that create shame and guilt. What if our shame and guilt is being amplified because we're disconnecting from the love and joy that is our natural state?
100%.
Right?
That's really all that it is. Even without doing all the work that you're talking about, like we've talked about doing all this work, because I've been doing the work too, the more that we can just be in alignment, we feel it. It feels good. We can be in that space of joy all the time. All it is, like you said, is it's just a gauge letting you know that you're no longer in that same stream. You've kind of stepped over to the side and you're only getting a trickle of it right now, and you can go right back into that center, but that's where an awareness comes into place.
I like that visual. It's like a waterfall. Are you fully under the waterfall of discomfort, or are you in, have you done enough work on yourself that now you're just like in the midst of it? Like you're still getting the mist and you recognize, oh, that doesn't feel good. What is it about that that doesn't feel good? How is it I'm reacting to this? What feelings or memories are coming up? Like it's a whole, but you're not so under the huge amount of water that is falling on you, and you think about that huge amount of heavy emotion that's coming down on you, shame, guilt, fear, criticism, judgments, and now you've done enough, not enough, but because we're a work in progress, um, but you've done a lot of work on yourself. So now it's a, you can kind of step back and look at it and say, okay, what's happening in me right now that my level of joy or happiness has dipped, and then how can I bring that back up? But yeah, I like receiving that information that the compound of our human experiences is creating that space between spirit, which is love and joy, and human experience. And so the level of sadness and depression that sets in, because I think that we are on a spiritual level feeling that discord on a different frequency, not just from the human experience, but from the spiritual experience. And it feels heavier than it actually is. That makes sense.
It does. Uh, and I'm also, as you were talking, I would say, I'm curious doing the process because I've been doing this process now for the last couple of weeks where I go in and I start feeling all of it. When really is that my mind's thinking the process could possibly be more of a distraction or keeping me in that same space because now I'm evaluating it. I'm not allowing myself, I'm not just looking at it like it just basic, like a gauge. If it was just a gauge and said my oil is high or my oil is low, if I just looked at it, it probably would say my oil is low if I'm focused on trying to fix it. But if I just recognize another good analogy, the new vehicles that are out and that have been out for a while, when you cross over a line or anything like that, you'll feel the seat vibrate. Not everybody's had this experience. I've had this experience. And to me, what if when we come out of alignment, just a little bit or a lot of it, we just feel like that vibration in our seat, right? It's nothing more. We don't, oh, got my attention. I need to get back into alignment. I need to get back into the lane. That's what if it's just that simple? What if it isn't? Because I've been going through this process and I've been looking at it, but because maybe it's part of the process to get to where I'm talking about right now. Because the more that we work through this, then it's easier to be able to say, oh yeah, it's nothing. I don't even have to pay any attention to that. It's just letting me know, alert, I'm not in a lane anymore. I've kind of drifted off to the median, off to the side or whatever. And you just need to get back into my lane. Because as soon as we do that, and if we're really paying very close attention with awareness, we'll know as soon as we start to slip out of that lane just a little bit, you'll automatically correct it without having to have the seat vibrate. So at this point, I have my training wheels on. I have to have the seat vibrate to bring me back in the center. But what if that's all that it is? It's not for me to have to go do more things because I can get sometimes lost in the repairing of things. Looking at it like, oh, where is this coming from? It just depends. It's a process. But now I'm starting to think if I can just notice as soon as it starts to feel uncomfortable, as soon if I wake up and I notice that I feel a little bit heavy, whether it's the energies that are around me, it's just immediately paying attention and filling myself up with the joy or not filling myself up, just being in alignment with the joy and allowing it to flow to me and just taking the time to take the breaths, right? Just to be aware and step right back into that path again instead of trying, going down other paths that maybe we don't want to go in. I'm just kind of putting it out there, just like thinking, because for me, it's resonating. But I also know that the stuff that I've been doing has been very helpful for me to get to where I'm at right now.
What are some of those things that you do so the audience would know?
some of the things that I do right now, when as soon as I start feeling off, I'll go sit, I'll remove myself from wherever I'm at, and I'll take some deep breaths. I try to do like 3 deep breaths. I could do om sounds. I could do, just taking a deep breath in and then just even being mad, like just breathing that through you to kind of shift because now your awareness is not now on you. It's now on shifting this energy. It's not on whatever the situation was that got you or made you feel like that's what where it took you, so you're not going into the blame and all that stuff. So I'll breathe. Sometimes if I'm not getting past it, I might write. I'll talk to my universal team about how to get through this. I've asked Yeshua to come in and wash my energy with his energy, or Baba G, or Archangel Michael, whatever, to help because whether it's for real or not, I do notice a difference. I can feel a shift, and it's like when you ask for that help, it almost feels like you're receiving help for it, and it's just the process. And each time, it's not always the same results. It's not always working, and sometimes it's just we've talked about walking out in nature. That's super important. I might find myself going out because for me, a meditative space that I like to do is working out in the yard. So I might go into that space and then that allows for shifting to happen because now I'm kind of doing something which can be distracting, but it's not always because I can feel when I'm doing it, I feel lighter. I feel more fulfilled. I start feeling more connected, probably because I'm outside in the earth. I'll walk around outside barefoot for a while. It's just a lot of listen to music's humming. There's just a lot of different stuff that I'll do. And then, but the biggest one for me is just sitting quietly and just breathing, just sitting. As soon as something triggers me, it's taking a few deep breaths, really just sitting with it in my body. And maybe that's just me quieting down, noticing it, and it just goes away. So, I feel like I've emptied the vessel a little bit. I've cleared space to allow for more joy to come in, I guess.
Sometimes people don't know what exactly it is they're feeling. So, like Bev said, is just take a moment to separate yourself. Maybe you just go sit on the toilet. I don't care that you just separate yourself from whatever's happening and you can put your hand on your heart and ask, what is it I'm feeling right now? And tune into that. And just maybe start, that's where the curiosity comes into play when you're tuning into yourself is, okay, I'm feeling angry. Why do I feel angry? Well, so and so said blah, 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 and it made me mad. Okay, has that happened before? And you just keep asking the questions. Well, yeah, it happened this other time 5 years ago with so and so. Okay, has it happened before that? And just keep going and keep going. And this is, of course, if you have a moment to, um, and maybe a better way to process this, get a pen and paper and write that down. Um, but in any rate, is just in the moment, at least figure out what it is you're feeling, because a lot of times we don't even know that. We just reacted to something, and again, we just at some point brush it off and keep moving. But your system, your body, your mind is still holding on to that because we haven't really processed it. It's just another layer of stuff that we're just pushing down and not taking the time to look at. Because again, you keep pushing it down, there are going to be keeping situations and people that are going to bring it back up in different ways, in different circumstances. And it's just going to keep being that big red button, like a Staples button on you. Instead of Staples button saying that was easy, you're going to be like, what the fuck was that? Right. And that's your button. And it just keeps getting pushed. And because you've just keep storing things in there to be pushed. So the opportunities that you have to sit with yourself. And then, of course, if this is something that seems too difficult for you to process on your own, then go to counseling, therapy, get a coach. Both Bev and I are coaches. We can help you process things, but do something where you feel supported, but also take the time to start releasing some of these things that you've been storing for a very long time.
Exactly.
And Dr. Robert Holden has a book, um, forget the name of it, but he's from England. And if anybody knows anything about the English, uh, they're very hmm, non-reactive, I would say. They don't express levels of joy like we do or like other cultures do. And so his mission was to study happiness. And one of his processes that I like so much is you go on a scale. He uses from 10 to 100 or 0 to 100. You can use a scale 0 to 10 and you level your state of happiness. So let's just say you're at a 2. A lot of times people who start this process are at a very low level. So this is not a judgment by no means. I know I was probably at a 1 or 2 when I started this. And then he would ask, okay, well, what would have to happen for you to get to a 3? And you keep doing that process till you get to a 10 or a 100, whichever system you want to use. And typically, so this is a side note for you to recognize as you do this, is that typically we say so and so needs to change, or so and so needs to do something, or um, we need a different president. Like everything that you start pointing out is external. Wow. When you're doing inner work, it means look at yourself inwardly. So it's not what needs to change in your environment or the people around you, what needs to change within me. Again, going to self-reflection. What do I need to do for me to go from a level 2 of happiness to a level 3? And one of those things for me was be better with my finances. When I am better with my finances, then I feel more secure because I'm going to have more money in the bank and I won't be as stressed about the next bill that rolls in. Am I going to be able to pay it or not? So I needed to be better at handling our finances. I'm working on that. I've been working on that and I'm doing an amazing job. And I'm very relaxed when it comes to sitting down to pay my bills every 2 weeks. I'm okay with it now. There's not as much money in the bank that I want, but I also know that I'm working toward getting things paid off. And I'm on this um, regular path of getting those things taken care of, and I'm okay with it. And the money in the bank is starting to build up. I had to change my money mindset. I had to work on that within myself. I had to find the tools to help me. So maybe I like to take baths. So if I take a bath, I'm only getting one once a month. I will take a bath once a week. That gets you to your next level of happiness. So each number, and I'll tell you, if you're at a level 2, sometimes it may be difficult to get to a level 10 to figure out what needs to be happen to get to a level 10. So when you sit down and do that, at least that's kind of giving you a game plan of your pathway to feeling happier. Um, Maybe you only figure out how to get to level 5. It's okay, it's a start. But I will also say that if you sat down and did this 6 months to a year later, things are going to change because you've changed, because you've been working on these different levels to help you get closer to the level of happiness that you desire, and those um, things that you would like for to shift, change, evolve within yourself are going to change over time because you ultimately have changed. So
Nuts.
for prime example, just so I can share this real quick, is to get to the next level, I needed to do work on my money mindset. Now I've been doing that for some time. Now that I know I'm on this path of getting things paid off and money is building up in my accounts, that okay, what is when I look at my finances, what is my next goal? Well, my next goal may be to bring in $10,000 a month. Do you know that's another money mindset shift? Did you know I have more work to do to get to that level? Do you know I need to learn how to go from what I have to that goal? So there's still work to be done. However, because I've cleared some of my and shifted some of my money mindset processes and belief systems, it will be easier for me to transition into the next. So, what I needed to do for myself 5 years ago has now shifted. Now I have to do the work in order to work towards the goals I want now, right? So, just so you know, things will shift and change for you. It's not always going to be the same, but at least get started.
Get started because all that stuff that you learned from 0 to 7, you absorb from those people around you, and then we operate from that space until we choose not to.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be 50 years old or 55 years. It could be a lot sooner than that. It's really a choice to make your to choose yourself.
Right. And that's huge, right? Is learning to choose yourself when you've not been in that space. And that's a whole nother
Yeah.
conversation. But um, choosing yourself may feel difficult if you're a people pleaser, fixer, caretaker, all the things. A, a lot, especially women, have struggle with that. So um, I would say at this point, with our conversation in this video, is to or this recording is to decide what does a level of happiness look like for you, because it's going to be different for everybody. My level of happiness is different than Bev's and vice versa. My level of happiness is different than my spouse. My level of happiness is different than my son. My level of happiness is different than my coworkers. So you have to decide what it is for you and then start maybe sit with that scale of 0 to 10 and ask, what is it that I need to do within myself or for me to get to that next level, and plan out as far as you can in a sitting, and then maybe just put it aside for 3, 4, 5, 6 months and then come back to it.
Agreed.
So we have work to do. It's time to get to the work, do the work, and notice the difference as you're moving through it. And know that you are supported, whether it's by people around you or by listening to videos that Bev and I do, or leaning into your spirit team. And when we say spirit team, we mean God, Jesus, Mother Mary, angels, guides, deceased loved ones, those types of beings, because it's still all energy and it's still all around us, and we can call upon it to help us, guide us, and support us. I do it on a regular basis. So um, lean into a support system. I have a support system and I've never met the people. I listen to podcasts on a regular. That is my support system. They teach me business aspects. They teach me money mindset. They teach me, and it's free. I just want to put that out there. It's free. Utilize the tools. If you are low on money, then utilize the tools that are available to you. And I tell you, when I say I get my money's worth out of YouTube, I certainly do, and I don't pay for the subscription. So free is free. Utilize what is available to you and implement whatever it is you're learning. So um, be resourceful. If you're learning something from us or any other podcast, book, influencer, share it. People need to hear these things because they're asking these questions with themselves as well. You can find us on many platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Spreaker, Spotify, Podcast Addict, and YouTube. And so it's under Amy and Bev Community, and you can find us on all those areas. And you can share the links. You can put comments, and we will come back to them and answer them. If there's a topic you would like for us to discuss or a question that you have, put it in there. We'll come back to it. So there is support for you. You have to ask. That is the biggest thing for a lot of people is learning to ask. So put it out there and let others be supportive. You have any final words?
I would say start today. That's the best thing I can tell you is you start today. And how can you start today? How are you feeling in this moment? And then you've already gave the steps. How can you shift to a different, even if you're in a space of joy and happiness, how could you even go higher than that right now? Because we don't know what that looks like or how it feels unless you ask.
Right.
You got to start today, right now.
Yep. Great. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time and energy because we know you could have been doing anything else with us for the last 30 or so minutes. So we appreciate you. And remember to um, like, subscribe, or comment on our content so that we get more exposure. And this is how you help us and you help all those others that are doing content as well. So with that, thank you so much for being here and hanging out. And we'll see you next time, Tea Time with Amy and Bev. Take care.
Bye.